The 8BitDo N64 controller, a much more comfortable way to play N64 games. Hey guys, I'm Luke and welcome back to another episode of Triforcedtech, as in this one, we're going to be talking about the 8BitDo N64 controller, as this is my absolute favorite way to play N64 games, even over the Nintendo Switch Online N64 controller, as this is meant to be faithful to the original N64 controller, and let's be real, this design did not age well. This more modern design is way better ergonomically, and yeah, I prefer it so much more, so let's get further into it. So yeah, the 8BitDo N64 controller is just a much more comfortable way to play N64 games, as its design is pretty much based off of a modern gaming controller, just with the N64 layout. Because yeah, the original N64 controller is just so weirdly shaped. I mean, its design feels like it's out of this world. It's not meant for a normal human hand, as the way you're supposed to hold it is like this if you're trying to play analog-centric games, and it felt like Nintendo was trying to stay faithful to, you know, the SNES and NES controllers, which were, you know, the controllers prior to the N64, and, you know, still keep like a D-pad centric way to hold the controller. But let's be real, this D-pad collects dust. No game even uses the D-pad or has inputs for them. It's actually a completely useless button on the N64. It's so weird. So yeah, most of the time you're going to be holding the controller like this, and because of that, it's just so weird ergonomically. Even as a kid, it made no sense, and as an adult, it feels even more weird. So yeah, simply swapping the analog stick to the top left of the controller makes it so much more ergonomically comfortable, as yeah, it feels like a standard modern controller when actually moving the analog stick, but you don't have to use the C stick for the C buttons, as yeah, when trying to use this for the C buttons, you might end up getting false inputs, as it's really easy to slide the analog stick in the wrong direction. But having actual C buttons the way it's intended to be, yeah, it pretty much gives you the best of both worlds. You have what it feels like to play a standard N64 controller, but in the comfortability of a modern controller. It really is the best of both worlds. But that isn't the only thing that makes this controller overall feel so much more superior. The analog stick in itself has just aged super poorly on the N64 controller, and while this is a Nintendo Switch Online N64 controller that Nintendo re-released in the last few years, it still doesn't feel that good. Obviously, Nintendo was trying to be as faithful as they can be to the original N64 controller, which I have here, and yeah, the analog stick is just so weird. Of course, this was Nintendo's first time giving a controller an analog stick, so, you know, it makes sense that it wasn't the absolute best at the time, but yeah, the way it's shaped and with how high the controller actually has the analog stick pop out, it makes it really uncomfortable. Even with my giant hands, like pushing it around and trying to get diagonals, it just feels super weird. And sadly, that translates exactly the same on this controller. But again, you could argue it's because Nintendo wanted to make it feel exactly like the original N64 controller. And hell, they succeeded, but that doesn't mean it feels any good. So having a, you know, actual analog stick that is, you know, a little bit more tighter, a little bit, you know, not as long, you know, a bit shorter, as you can see, just makes it a lot more comfortable on the fingers, and plus you get way better, you know, directional snapping and just moving it around, because again, yeah, it's just, you know, shaped much better. It's not like this weird protruding design that, again, it's hard to explain, but once you use it, it just feels so weird. It's like I'm using a giant stick to move around, and yeah, it's easy for my fingers to kind of slip off of it, and it's just not comfortable whatsoever. This kind of feels like a modern, you know, standard controller analog stick, but with the N64 style, you know, the weird rings around the controller and the edges that make it, you know, just kind of feel like a standard N64 controller. So there are really no compromises. It's just a more modern way to play N64 games. Though in terms of the buttons on the controller, they feel absolutely identical to the original N64 controller. And that's not a bad thing, as the original N64 controller felt really good with its face buttons. I mean, there is nothing to complain about. I absolutely loved the feedback you got with how it felt, really snappy. And, you know, it had a nice glossy texture to it, and I loved the colorway that they went for. And yeah, luckily the 8BitDo controller has the exact same feel and vibe. Not as glossy as the original N64 controller, but in terms of actual feedback and feeling, it's pretty much identical. Like, I can't tell the difference. And I love how they even made sure the start button is that big red button in the center. So overall, outside of the analog stick placements being changed and being a lot more comfortable, the face buttons are pretty much identical. The D-pad actually is slightly different. But like mentioned before, you almost never use the D-pad on the original N64 controller, and I'll be honest, the D-pad feels really bad. Like, even compared to how the D-pads felt on prior controllers, it didn't have the same pivot as the original NES and SNES ones. And I mean, for good reason. It's not like you ever use this. Like I said, I swear, I can't really think of a single N64 game in which you can even use this. Even in like Ocarina of Time's menu, you can't use the D-pad, you have to use the analog stick. So it's not like this was even programmed to be usable in a lot of games. But yeah, overall, the D-pad on the 8BitDo controller actually feels better. It feels a lot more similar to a NES or SNES. Actually, it's very identical to the SNES one. I mean, if we put them side by side, they look almost exactly the same and have the exact same pivot. So in general, you get a better D-pad, but again, if you're buying this for just N64 games, you're never gonna really need to use it, but it's nice that it does overall feel better. And well, of course, you can use this controller to play an actual N64. The only thing that you're going to need is a Bluetooth adapter for your Nintendo 64 that will be in the shape of this dongle that you can just plug in your N64 port. And then if you pair it to your 8BitDo N64 controller, you'll be playing N64 games just like you would on an N64 controller. So you don't need it to be wired or anything. But of course, I'm sure the main reason why you'd want to cop one of these two controllers is to mainly play Nintendo 64 games on Nintendo Switch Online for the Switch or Switch 2. And yeah, both of these controllers can do the part, if not, again, this one better. Because yeah, what Nintendo did with their version of the Nintendo Switch Online N64 controller is they switchified it by adding a few extra things, as the original N64 controller, of course, didn't have a few buttons that would help us navigate the, menu and just overall get around on the Switch. So if you do have this connected, you can still hit the home button just like that, which, let's go ahead and pair it up. There we go. So if I hit it, there we go. And then we also have a screenshot button, really awkward placement, but yeah, we can easily screenshot things like that, which again, if you're playing and like some exciting thing happens and you have to like move your hand really quickly, like where is it, and you just try to click it, it's not that comfortable. And then you also got a ZR button, which is for the menu when you're in game to pop that open. And yeah, luckily you have those exact same buttons on the 8BitDo controller. We can screenshot in a much more comfortable placement. As you can see, we also have a select button, which is a completely extra button that doesn't even exist on the Nintendo Switch N64 controller. And we also have a home button, which, yeah, I can easily hit home like that. And we have ZR, which pretty much is in the placement of what ZR should be, which is a lot easier to open up the menu that way. And overall, yeah, no compromises. Of course, the Z button is where ZL is, and that is very similar to when playing, on a actual Pro controller. That's where your Z button will be. So it's comfortable. I mean, if you're holding the N64 controller, you literally use this finger to click the Z button, unless, I don't know, somehow you're holding it like this, like you're going to be using your right finger. So overall, the Z button being where ZL is feels perfect. It doesn't feel weird or anything. It doesn't need to be on the bottom. That wouldn't make much sense. So overall, yeah, you have everything you need that this controller offers, and again, more. You got even an additional button that this one doesn't have. And yeah, this controller can pretty much do it all. And when connected to a Nintendo Switch console, as you can see, I'm moving around on the menu. Yeah, it literally recognizes the controller as an official first-party Nintendo 64, Nintendo Switch Online controller. So even that, the actual controller is recognized as an official Nintendo 64 controller, as you can see. And the way to do that is real simple. Like, how you pair it is just switching this little toggle from, D to S. And S obviously stands for Switch. It's really hard to see because of my camera. I don't even think it's gonna focus. There we go. And yeah, having it on S, boom bada bing, it's connected and we're good to go. So literally no compromises. And I'm not gonna lie, it is crazy to be able to play N64 games in a much more comfortable form factor, but still have access to the proper C buttons. Because, like I said, when trying to use the C buttons on, an actual Pro controller, well, again, you have a very similar ergonomics. It is not comfortable whatsoever because you're gonna have so many false inputs trying to slide the stick around, and, especially when playing Ocarina notes, yeah, it is so much better playing it on actual face buttons with input and feedback. And not only that, also being able to move the analog stick in a much more comfortable way and just dish out that spin attack immediately. Yeah, I can do it so much easier on this controller compared to this one. Because while it is still relatively easy to do the spin attack on the actual N64 controller, it is still so much more uncomfortable because I have to move my thumb all the way around like this, and it feels like I have to put so much pressure and my finger might slide off, and overall I feel like it's really easy to get calluses and bruise your finger from this. I remember I'd actually get a lot of finger bruises from the N64 controller because just overall how much pressure you're putting on it to move it up, down, left, right, it's just not comfortable. But again, this, you put very little effort and it's just so nice. I mean, again, with it not being so tall, it really helps out in terms of comfortability. And again, yeah, it's bigger, it's thicker, it's overall better. It's not connected though, so I gotta quickly swap. But speaking of swapping back and forth, you can do so easily with this controller. Yeah, it's a third party and all, but once you sync it to your Nintendo Switch, yeah, it pretty much works like a actual N64 Switch Online controller. You don't have to do anything with it. It's super easy to pair, and as long as you keep it on Switch mode on the back, it will always pick up on your Nintendo Switch and yeah, be easy to use just like that. And there we go, we're back in action using the much better, more comfortable controller. But to show how easy it really is, let's go ahead and try to pair this controller, which isn't paired yet. As you can see, if I press start, anything, it won't connect. It will actually connect to my PC. So I have it connected via Bluetooth with the D input, as yeah, again, you can use this controller for, your PC, for Android, for anything that does register with Bluetooth connection, and just swapping it like that will have it connect to the Nintendo Switch. And yeah, if I go ahead and try to connect it right now, it won't connect because I haven't, hit pairing mode yet. But it's even easier to do that if you just grab a USB-C cable, plug it in your Nintendo Switch or Switch 2, and then go ahead and do this. And just by doing that, as you can see, paired immediately. And there we go, we are done. And now we have this controller completely paired up. And if I go ahead and just press home, boom bada bing, I'm using this controller literally within a few seconds. It's very identical to how pairing an official first party one. So again, literally you get zero compromises. It's so cool. All you're getting is benefits. It's cheaper, it's more comfortable, the quality is of standard, even the colorways. Again, the only issue is the face buttons not being the same color, but like all the different colorways are very, very identical. Like in person, the gold is as gold as this one. All I need to do is switch the face buttons and I'll have the modernized controller of my absolute favorite controller of all time. Like, even though, yeah, this was, the first console I ever played, it's my most nostalgic controller. When I think of a video game controller, I think of this controller. Let's be real, it's uncomfortable though. It's very, very uncomfortable for what it is. And while I do love the C buttons and being able to play N64 games with actual button inputs and not using a analog stick for them, having a modernized way like this is just, again, the best of both worlds because you get that modernized feeling, with, again, proper face inputs. I absolutely love this. As you can tell, I mean, I have 3 of them, and it makes sense with N64. I mean, if anything, I'm still looking for one more, maybe a different color variant, because, yeah, these controllers, you know, you want 4 of them so you can play all the 4-player games on the Nintendo 64. So really, I would prefer just even picking up one of these if you already have one of these, because you can give it to a friend, or you'll probably end up using this and having a friend use this one. Technically, when you think about it, I have 4 that can all connect to my Switch, because yeah, with this one, we got the whole party playing, so that is pretty nice. But again, it's so cool that all of these can just connect so easily. Look at that, I got 3. Let's do all 4 right now. So there we go. All 4 of them are gonna connect, and we should be good. Actually, if anything, this one's having trouble connecting, which I find absolutely hilarious. What is going on? The official one, like all of these connected instantly, and Nintendo's isn't. There we go, finally. Wow, that's making Nintendo look bad. Look at that. I mean, okay, they're all connected, all registered as N64 controllers. It is amazing. Literally, the whole fam can be playing with me. Some Mario Party, some Mario Kart, really anything. And that is just so freaking cool to me. I'm obviously going to be using one of these two. You know, again, the guest is using this crap. This is the crap now, you know what I'm saying? Like, the first party is worse than the third party. To me, it makes no sense, but this is truly how times have changed, because I genuinely do mean this. Like, I'm not sponsored by them. I bought these controllers off my own dime. Like, I legit just love these. I was so excited to get this limited edition one and this one, because yeah, this one's so nostalgic to me, and this one, again, is based off of my favorite controller of all time. Again, I just have to swap the face button. So, I mean, I do have one criticism. That is the only criticism. The variants should have had the colorway with the face buttons. I don't understand why they didn't do that. But other than that, and if you're happy with the gray controller, then you have literally no compromises, because as this is actually cheaper, $10 cheaper for this variant, but they do sell a pure black and white model that are just 40 bucks. And the N64 controller from Nintendo, you know, for the Nintendo Switch Online version is actually $55, which yeah, is $10 over this and $15 over this. And I'll be honest, these are way better in terms of comfortability and overall quality in my eyes. But again, I know this is an official Nintendo controller, so you're paying for that premium price tag. But yeah, as you could tell, I have 3 of these controllers because they're so good. I even got the limited edition gold one that Analog was selling for their Analog 3D, which is an N64 recreation. I do have one of those and can totally make a video about that. But for now, we're talking about the controllers. And yeah, while this is really nice, my biggest issue with all the other color variants that aren't based off of this classic color, as yeah, this is the only controller that they sell with the actual face buttons reflecting the same colors as the original N64. I don't know why they went with complete solid colors for the other color variants when, again, they're based off of other colorways like the gold one that they sold, but it doesn't have the same charm as it's missing, you know, all the different face button colors. And it really is a shame because, yeah, I really wish all the controllers had the exact same face buttons that made it look like an authentic N64 controller. A part of me wants to mod the gold one and replace the face buttons from this one with that one so it can kind of look like my favorite N64 controller. But either way, that's besides the point. It's just, yeah, that's the one flaw with 8BitDo. For some reason, they didn't commit and have every single, you know, controller have colored face buttons. That's probably why this one is a little bit more expensive. Like I said, $5 more than the standard color ones. Again, they probably don't sell this one anymore, but again, at least the black and white ones, it's a little bit more expensive, but at least this one's not limited edition and they're still selling it, so you can totally pick it up and have something that overall looks very similar to the original N64 controller, just again, way better in shape. But yeah, I feel like I covered pretty much everything I wanted to say, but just in case, again, while you can use it easily on the Nintendo Switch and Switch 2, pair them easily, do all of that, you can again play it on your PC PC, which I do use it for Project 64 to play ROM hacks as well. I'd rather play those, you know, more authentically with an N64 style controller. And yeah, they work perfectly on Android, PC, whatever it may be. You can easily pair it. All you need to do is just swap the input from Switch, as yeah, it will make it recognize, you know, Switch consoles, and just yeah, have it be on D, which will make it recognize any Bluetooth device that you try to pair to it. So yeah, no compromises in that sense. This controller can work on both and really everything in between. So it's not just for the Nintendo Switch, which I believe you can do it, you know, with this controller as well, but it might not be as easy. So if you really want an emulation N64 controller, this is definitely way better and will work, you know, much more comfortably out of the box. Instead of this, you might have to download like a third-party app or something to get it to work on at least PC. I don't even know if your Android can recognize this controller, because Nintendo's Bluetooth is really weird. It's like only meant to be paired with their consoles, and you can't actually like get other devices to pair with them, which yeah, can make it a little bit frustrating if you're trying to play, you know, on Project 64, you know, emulation and use this controller. But again, this, you know, easily out of the box, just swap the little thing on the back and boom, you're connected and you're playing whatever game you want on your emulator, good to go. And yeah, very similar to the Nintendo Switch Online version. It has, you know, the light on the bottom. It's very identical, showing which, you know, input it's in. So there you go. Now that I've reconnected it to my Switch 1, this is player 1, this is player 4, and I mean, I could show off this is player 3. Like, yeah, they're all identical in that sense with the Nintendo Switch Online version. And again, with similar buttons, obviously, you know, you had to actually add a rumble pack in the original N64 controller, and this one comes with a fake, you know, rumble pack pre-installed, because it does have rumble, and of course this has HD rumble and feels just as good as the Nintendo Switch Online version. So if you're playing Ocarina of Time and you're near a grotto after getting the rumble pack in game, it will rumble exactly the same, so you don't have any issues in that sense. Literally everything this controller offers, this one has. So again, zero compromises in any sense of the way. But yeah, that pretty much does it for this video. Again, I could not recommend this controller enough, and this is coming from a 90s kid who grew up with the N64, who Ocarina of Time was their very first game and one of their favorite games of all time, and genuinely loves to go back to play Ocarina of Time on the N64, even over the 3D re-release on the 3DS. Like, I am an N64 kid through and through. It's pretty much my favorite console aesthetically and overall vibes wise. So yeah, having a much more comfortable way to play pretty much my childhood console is a dream come true, because again, no matter how nostalgic I am for this controller, it's outdated, it feels uncomfortable, it is really outlandish in terms of its design. And I get it, it was Nintendo's first take on a 3D analog stick going in this direction, but them again having the D-pad be something that just collects dust, something you never touch, and not meant to hold the controller in this grip, it was a huge mistake by them to make the controller like this. But who cares? This is a part of history, and again, I love the design just visually looking at it, but when I hold it, it's not that comfortable. So again, thank God there are third-party companies that have such high standards and quality and don't overprice their products, because legit, I am not sponsored by 8BitDo. I would love to be sponsored though, because their controllers are so good. Again, I would recommend this over any N64, you know, official controller, because yeah, this is so nice, cheaper, better in every sense of the way. Literally, once you get your hands on it, if you're an N64 fanatic like I am, you will completely understand my obsession with this and why I have multiple ones of these, because yeah, I absolutely love it so much. So yeah, that pretty much does it for this video. Let me know what you guys think. Please leave a like on the video, and if there's any other controllers or videos you'd like to see me make, I am more than open to do them, because as you can tell, I love gushing and talking about all these sort of, you know, products that I have, because I mean, yeah, you know, I enjoy using them and I enjoy talking about them. So again, this is coming from a place of passion, a place of love, someone who genuinely is a fan of the stuff they talk about. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this for what it was, and that about does it for this episode of Triforcedtech. I've been Luke, and I'll see you all in the next one.